Okay, it's time for similes and metaphors, dear listeners, and today I'm going to teach you what they are. A simile and a metaphor is a figure of speech. We use it when we use figurative language, and we use it in everyday life, but they are also extensively used in pieces of literary work. If you are getting ready for an English exam, you need to identify similes and metaphors, and you need to comment on their effect. You will have to use similes and metaphors in your writing, depending on what type of writing you're doing, but that's a different story. So people use these to make something more imaginable. When you hear a simile or a metaphor, it creates a mental image in your mind. And that is the effect that people want to achieve when they use a simile or a metaphor, to create a really vivid picture in someone's mind about something or someone or a situation. Because of this, a simile and a metaphor is much more effective than giving a simple description using adjectives and adverbs. Let's see what I mean. A simile is a comparison made between things using the words as or like. Let's see. Her voice is like the sound of angels singing. I'm comparing her voice to the sound of angels using the word like. Your car is as big as a house. I'm comparing your car to a house using the word as. He dragged his feet like a wounded animal. I'm comparing how he drags his feet to a wounded animal. The creature, which looked like a raccoon, darted out from behind the tree. I'm comparing the creature to a raccoon in its appearance. His life is like an endless roller coaster ride. I'm comparing his life to a roller coaster ride with the use of like. Easy. It's really easy to recognize a simile because it's going to have as or like in there. Okay? A metaphor is a little bit trickier because a metaphor states that something is another thing altogether. So you're not comparing two things with as or like. You're saying that one thing is something else. Let's see the examples. When she sings, we hear the voice of angels. Her singing voice is the voice of angels. Okay? He was a redwood among the forest of people, the tallest, the grandest, the most beautiful. Okay, I'm saying that he was a redwood tree, okay? And I'm also saying that there was a forest of people, which is not true, okay? I'm saying that there were a bunch of people there and they made a forest, basically. They created a forest, but it's not true. Her morning coffee is what gave her life. Without it, she was a zombie. So I'm saying that her morning coffee gave her life. Okay, it's doing something that it's not real. It's not true. It's not to be understood in a literal way. And I'm also saying that she was a zombie. I'm saying that she was something else. The last one is kids are little monsters. Okay, so that's easy to recognize. How can I tell if it's a metaphor? You're going to ask yourself, is this actually true? Is this to be taken literally? Did this really happen? Was this really happening? Her hair was a golden mane. Is this true? Was her hair an actual mane? No, it was not. So then it's a metaphor. The stars, freckles on God's face, were smiling at me. First of all, the stars, were they really freckles? No. Were they on God's face? No. Then it's a metaphor. Also, smiling at me, That's personification, but that's for another video. But that's not true. So that's a type of metaphor too. They were smiling at me. Were they really smiling? No. Then it's a metaphor. My time there was hell itself. Was it really hell? No, it wasn't. So then it's a metaphor. I mean, it's a type of exaggeration in this case, but it is a metaphor. Exaggerations are often metaphors. Okay, so let's see. Her hair was golden in color and resembled a lion's mane. Am I saying that her hair was a lion's mane? No, I'm saying that it resembled a lion's mane. Now, golden in color, there is a color that is like gold. So golden in color is an actual description, right? So this is to be taken literally. The stars shimmered on the night sky. They seem to be doing that. So it is a description of what's happening. I am not saying that the stars are doing something that they are incapable of doing, or at least from our perspective. And I'm not saying that there's something else. Okay. My time there was absolutely awful. I am using an adverb and an adjective to describe my time there. But it's my opinion. I'm not saying that it was hell. I'm not saying that it was a bottomless pit. I'm saying that it was awful. And that doesn't make the statement a metaphor. This is to be taken literally. Okay. So what you need to remember is that just because something is not true, but is a description or somebody's opinion, doesn't make the statement a metaphor. So if I say the cake was the most delicious thing I ever ate, that's my opinion. I'm not saying that the cake was heaven. If I say the cake was heaven, that's a metaphor. But over here, I'm not saying that it was something else. So it's just a description. Delicious. It's an adjective. Idioms, in a lot of cases, are metaphors and similes, and I have a few to demonstrate that. To kill two birds with one stone. That means to do things simultaneously, or to get two results with one action for your benefit. But you don't literally kill two birds with a stone, right? Of course not. So it's a metaphor. A fish out of water means to feel uncomfortable in a situation, but whoever feels that way isn't a fish, and they are not out of water. So it is a metaphor. To feel like $1 million means to feel really well and healthy and, all sorts of positive things. It's a simile because it has the word like in it. You're comparing how you're feeling to a bunch of money, right? And the last one I have is to be on a tightrope, which means to be in a situation when you have to act really carefully for some reason. But that doesn't mean you're really on a tightrope. So it's not to be taken literally. That means it's a metaphor. Okay, so which one is more powerful, the simile or the metaphor? Well, if you guessed the metaphor, then you were right. Why? Because when you say that something is another thing altogether, then you are making a very bold statement. It has a much more powerful effect. Let's take a look at some examples. Let's compare you eat like a pig, which is a simile, to you are a pig. You can kind of get away with saying to someone that, oh, you eat like a pig. But getting away with saying you're a pig isn't guaranteed, right? It's got more power. It's more effective. It's ruder, okay? Let's look at the next one. the food tasted like trash, or the food was trash. Well, of course, again, the metaphor is more powerful. And then the car was as fast as a rocket compared to the car was a rocket. Of course, you can feel the difference in the weight these sentences carry. Okay, so this means that now you know what a simile is and what a metaphor is. Thank you for your attention.